Hey everyone, my name is Kristen Marie. I'm a licensed esthetician, an educator, mentor, a YouTuber, and a mom. Thank you so much for tuning in today. As usual, hit the subscribe button, like this video if you're excited for the information, and be sure to comment below where you're at in your journey. We are a thriving community here of estheticians, beauty students, entrepreneurs. We just hit 100,000 subscribers, and I'm still so very thankful for all of you who have hit the subscribe button, who will join this family, and I plan to continue to share with you real, genuine, and raw content to help inspire you and to help elevate you and your business. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about a pretty hot topic. We're going to talk about how to retain clients and why you are losing them. We're going to get real in this video. I have been doing some self-reflection, even just personally, looking at my clientele, who's coming in, who's returning, who's not returning. You know, I might say some things that maybe won't be popular opinion, but I feel like it needs to be addressed. And I'm also, of course, going to be sharing some really great things for you to implement immediately into your practice that I do believe will help you retain clients. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out my other video that talked about retention tips for estheticians. I relayed some really great information in that video as well. And in this video, we're just going to be kind of building upon that knowledge. So be sure to check out that video and watch until the very end because I have a special announcement for y'all, and I'm really excited to share what's next for Kristen Marie & Co. So be sure to grab that pen and paper and continue watching. It has been a long day, you guys. I just put little man down for bed, and now it's time for mama to do her skincare routine, and I wanted to show you guys my latest beauty secret. Thank you so much, Water Drop, for sponsoring this video. This is the Water Drop Skincare Face Washer Filter. I'm about to show you how to set it up, what the benefits are, how to integrate it into your skincare regimen, and possibly even into your own treatment rooms. The Water Drop Skincare Face Washer is shipped directly for free to your home and offers a 30-day return guarantee. It's also certified by a few government agencies and has been tested by experts for its technology. What I think makes this unique is the micro nano bubbles it creates that are the size of the average pore and allows the water to penetrate deeper into the skin. Based on studies, it helps reduce skin redness, skin oiliness, minimizes pore size while also hydrating. And because it's also filtered, it reduces the presence of bacteria by 99.9% and chlorine by 97%, which I believe already creates a lot of benefit for the skin, especially if you're dealing with acne. I also love using this in my guest bathrooms so that my son can reap the benefits too. He thinks it's fun looking, and weirdly it's made our time washing up a little easier because he's having fun. And as a mom, you wonder what you can do to reduce any toxins our little ones are exposed to. So having this filter in our sink makes sense. We also have a filter in our shower, and it's where we wash our hands, brush our teeth, wash our faces. And for myself too, it's been an essential part of my double cleansing routine. It feels really luxurious on my skin, and you can feel a sort of bubbling sensation when you're rinsing your skin with this water. I think this could also be a great integration for your treatment rooms, for your sink, in order to give your clients cleaner and bacteria-free water. I can't lie, I wasn't sure how much of a difference this would make, but I mean, look at my skin. This is without products, and I still had a very noticeable glow, and it felt nice and soft and clean. So go ahead and click the link in my description box or use the code here for a discount on this filtration system. Thank you so much again, Water Drop, for sending me this device and for giving me the opportunity to share about this. Now, without further ado, let's get into the content of this video. Let's dive into the materials that I have for you today. Everything is linked below for you. My personal links and coupons and the offerings that I provide as far as coaching, courses, and I do have a special announcement for you here at the end of this video. So make sure you watch to the end, like this video if you find it helpful, and comment below at some point if there's any sort of tip that maybe you relate to or there's a tip maybe you want to share with our community, commenting and liking and sharing my videos really helps to boost it as well. I'd appreciate if you could do that for me. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into these tips. You guys know, if you've been watching me for a minute, that I'm going to talk to you about something that I think a lot of us overlook, and I'm going to keep reminding y'all how important it is to check in with yourself regularly about your mindset and just how you're feeling overall about your business. And I'm sure if you're coming to this video, you can probably relate. You know, maybe you want to learn more about how to retain your clients. Maybe you've lost clients. I will be sharing with you some personal stories about certain clients that I have lost in the past and kind of how I handled those situations. And this video, of course, is not in any way to talk down or badly about any of those people. It's just to share those as examples. Back to our mindset, I think it's super important to check in with ourselves to make sure that we're feeling good. We're feeling, number one, grateful for the clients that we currently have. I know sometimes we get super caught up with just wanting more and more and more, and I've been guilty of that myself as well. And I think sometimes it's good to feel motivated and inspired to reach more and to earn more as well. We want to make sure we're appreciating and loving on and treasuring our current clients. You make sure that you are giving your current clients extra love, nudging them a little bit to keep referring you, tagging them in your posts, encouraging them to leave reviews for you. I mean, there's all these little things that you can encourage your current clientele to continue to do in order to build your current clientele. And also for them, it's just showing them that, they have a really valuable spot in your practice and that they are a part of growing it into something bigger. And when people feel like they're a part of something, it's much more motivating. It's much more enticing for them to want to help and all of that. And so something else I've also implemented lately is just rewarding client loyalty. And I've mentioned to you before, I do a loyalty card where their 6th visit, I give them a percentage off of the service that they're receiving that day. And then I go and I refresh that card every single time that they complete it. There have been some other loyalty programs that I am currently looking into. I know that some of y'all have memberships, like seasonal promotions. I think those are all wonderful, and again, encourages clients to stick around. I currently haven't implemented memberships just yet, but it is something that I'm considering for the near future, and I'll definitely keep you up to date about that and the promotions that I plan to try to do here in my practice. So be sure to stay in touch with me, and I'll be sure to keep you updated on that. Doing like seasonal facials, I'm sure you guys have seen me post like my vineyard grape facial a couple months ago, or our Mother's Day special. You want to kind of try to stay ahead of the times and the holidays that are coming up this next season that we're about to enter in. I know we're all enjoying summer right now. I just went on a vacation. Be sure to check out the vlog channel. We're enjoying ourselves right now, but don't lose sight of what's coming ahead, and honestly the pot of gold that is coming. And typically during the fall winter time is when maybe people get a little more relaxed. Again, I'm trying to fix my own mindset when it comes to that, because I feel like the winter and fall time can actually be a really lucrative time of the year, and so the planning for that starts now. Clients love that. Clients love specials and seasonal things. I know I have a couple clients who just come in for those seasonal facials. They get excited about that. So implement something like that. If maybe for you once a month is too much, just start with something once a quarter. That's pretty much kind of what I've been doing at this point, is per holiday or per quarter, I'm doing at least 1 or 2 specials or some sort of promotion for that quarter, that month. My next tip for you as far as mindset is adding to treasuring your current clients and loving on them as much as you can. I've had to dig a little bit deeper the last few months and realize that there has been occasions where I have had to, cancel on people. It doesn't happen often, but here and there, if my son gets sick or my sitter can't make it, something happens, I get sick, I've had to reschedule, or I've, had to cancel on people last minute. And you know, thinking about those situations made me realize that my clients are so amazing. They're so awesome and understanding. No one has ever given me a hard time knowing like my situation, being a single parent, business owner. And so I realized policy enforcement had maybe been a bit too strict in the past. I had to kind of like sit and marinate with that for a minute and realize that, hey, you know what, it's okay to cut people slack sometimes. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have policies in place. I think it's really important to at least collect a deposit for your services as a small business owner. But I've even kind of gotten to a point where I'm like, okay, you know, once I get kind of a larger business going, am I still going to collect deposits? Because most places don't do that. And I do feel like if I did take away deposits, there would still be a handful of people that would show up and continue to come and get services. Now, that's not a decision I have made just yet, but where I have kind of started to cut a little bit of slack when it comes to my policies is just giving people at least one time to kind of get a little warning before I enforce anything. So especially a new client, you know, when people book an appointment with me, I have all the policies listed out for them and they have to check the box to, you know, acknowledge them. But most people just go and check and don't read it. So, and of course, make sure your policies are also available on your website and your highlights. I have all of that covered, right? But there's still people who won't read it or don't know it. And so usually for first timers, I do cut some slack on the first time they need to reschedule or cancel. And maybe it was a little bit too last minute according to my policies. And I just gently tell them like, hey, you know, thanks for letting me know. Typically, according to my policy, this is how it usually goes, but I'm willing to make an exception for you, but just keep that in mind for next time. When would you like to rebook? It's usually received really well, and I do feel like that gives people a sense that I'm also a person. I'm not just going to be this heartless business owner who's like, no, you better come to your appointment, you know what I mean? And people, you know, quite frankly, honestly, don't need to deal with that. They could easily go to a spa nearby and they don't got to pay a deposit. They don't got to follow any policies. And so you do have to keep that in mind. I do feel like there needs to be a little bit of grace when it comes to certain situations. Even if, and I know, you know, I'll dive into this a little bit later in the video, even if I know, you know, the client maybe isn't telling the full truth about why they're canceling or whatever, that doesn't matter, okay? We're not here to play detective or FBI on our clients. We just have to take their word for it. And I know certain times there's been clients who are my regulars that maybe know the policies, but they are in a strenuous situation or they have a family emergency or something like that. I don't for 1 second question it. I used to in the past, but again, I've been doing some inner work lately. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take people's word for it. I'm going to show them some grace, just as I would hope to receive grace in return, because I am not perfect, or I'm not, you know, not subject to things popping up sometimes, and I got to cancel something last minute. And so I have had occasions where I've given some of my clients grace, and I do feel like they make up for it in other ways. You know, they usually always rebook, pay me something anyways. It just, it is one of those things that you just have to handle case by case. So whatever you feel comfortable with, I just feel like if you're too rigid with it, sometimes it really deters people away. And I know I have lost clients in the past from enforcing policies, and maybe I could have just cut them some slack that time and maybe they would have stayed. Who knows? I do feel like at least giving a client 1 or 2 times to mess up, quote unquote, I don't think it would hurt you. You know, at the end of the day, you just have to trust that God, the universe, whatever you believe in, is going to provide for you. And the more you stress about the money, and that's something else I've been kind of working on, is to not stress so much about the money and tying our clients with money, and that kind of creating a sense of desperation. And I think also I've had to check myself when it comes to people rescheduling or canceling, because I would find myself just getting really irritated. I'm just being real with you right now. Whenever I would see a text like that, I'd be like, ugh, you know. And I'm sure all of you guys can relate to this, but I've had to just tell myself, you know, it's what comes with the job. It's gonna happen. And that's what deposits are for, right? So even if at the end of the day we don't get that 100%, we at least got the 50% or whatever deposit you collect for your business. And that's just gonna have to be good enough sometimes. Going into my next point, maybe this wouldn't be as popular of an opinion, but I've also, again, have had to check myself on this as well, because I have posted content like this myself, talked about these things, and I've put energy towards these things. But I think it's really important to, you know, be mindful of what we're posting on our pages, as far as like complaining about people rescheduling and canceling, making fun of people for being a certain way, a certain client or whatever. And I know, I get it. Like, you're probably like, come on, Kristen, like, it's all for fun, it's jokes. Yes, I know that. But I'm just saying, someone coming and looking at your page for the first time, they might not necessarily know you yet, and so they might look at that and be like, oh, well, what if she makes a video about me and what I said, or me canceling and this and that. And you know, like I said, most people will understand, but I'm just saying, I think that it's important for us to check ourselves and not necessarily complain too much about people canceling and rescheduling, because we just know that that's what comes with the job. And the more you accept that, the more you let it not bother you or give it energy, I promise you it will not happen as often. I can say that full-heartedly and with confidence, because there was a period of time where I just would get so irritated, and I kid you not, it was like happening one after the other, and that's just what happened. You give something energy, you put focus on it, it just continues to happen, and more and more and more of it will come. So the less you freak out about it and give it attention, the better. Focus on the positive things, focus on the clients that you do have, the positive relationships you have, and I promise you those will pop up more and more for you, and you'll be able to see more people sticking around. Just in general too, just not complaining about our job. I know that doesn't have necessarily anything to do with client retention at the moment, but I have been seeing some posts online that we didn't think our job came with a content creator job description. We didn't think that we were going to have to be the marketer, the CEO, the accountant, the this, and that. But I want to remind you guys that it is a blessing that we get to be in this position. I even have to remind myself, you know, filming and having to come up with ideas constantly, and all the responsibilities that I have to remind myself too, like, not to complain, not to roll my eyes or get, you know, frustrated or overwhelmed. Like, this is a blessing. This is, I mean, think about it. There's so many people out there who just dream of working for themselves. And yes, every single job comes with its stuff. And I want to encourage you too, that if you are feeling that way, keep it to yourself. You know, I have found myself sometimes talking to my clients about some of the things that have been happening behind the scenes and work-related stuff, and it's like, quite frankly, that just has nothing to do with them. I get it if, you know, you become good friends with one of your clients, it just becomes easy to talk about those things. But I feel like keeping work and your clients very separate, as far as like work-related problems or issues, and your clients separate from that conversation, I think that's really going to be helpful too, because I don't know, I just think that, again, you're giving more energy to those like complaints or issues or problems, and we don't need to be talking about that in our treatment rooms. Again, maybe not all of you guys will agree with me, but I do honestly feel like it has made a difference for me the last few months. The less I've chatted about any issues work related that maybe, you know, you're feeling overwhelmed with or not feeling good about. Let's just not talk about things we're not feeling good about, is my point. My next tip for you is, when it comes to your conversations with clients, I did mention this in the other video, that I think it's important to make sure you're focused in your treatment. So when we get really comfortable with our clients, yeah, we tend to start to like chit chat and gossip and all of that, and I feel like it's good to be able to have that relationship with your clients, but just make sure we're honing it back into the purpose of them being there, giving them that time to relax. I always tell them, okay, hey, you know, I love talking with you, but during the mask, we gotta, you know, zip it. I want you to relax. You know, you're in control of the service. Remember that. And then also too, I realized not only just talking less in a service about other things, but also mentally, like, what am I thinking about when I'm doing the service? I tend to find my mind drifting when I'm doing the massage or I'm doing something in the service. When you're thinking about all the 10,000 other things you got to get done after this client, or oh gosh, I got to hurry up for the next client, and we'll talk about that in a sec too. I think it just takes away from the energy that you could really be putting into your client. Now, I've really challenged myself to, during the massage especially, to make sure my head is clear, that if my mind starts drifting, I intentionally start counting in my head. Like if I'm doing like movement like this, I go 1, 2, 3, and I'm counting that way. My mind's not necessarily thinking about other stuff. I'm literally focused on what I'm doing. And also too, I'm imagining, this might sound so silly, but I'm literally imagining like what each movement is doing for this person, and the relaxation that it's giving them, and just kind of like thinking like, oh, I'm performing magic on them, and I want them to get, and just, I'm literally thinking to myself, you know, I want them to leave here feeling good. I want them to leave here feeling like their skin looks good and that their skin's going to improve from coming here. Like I'm literally just manifesting and thinking of all the wonderful things that could happen from me, you know, touching them, and for me giving them a good service, and how I want them to feel after this. And I do honestly, truthfully believe that that makes a difference. When your head is not thinking about all the stuff you got to get done, and you're focused and you're into it and you're passionate, people totally feel that. It just makes such a difference and an impression on people, and I do believe that that can set you apart and keep clients coming back. My next point that I kind of touched on just a second ago is about overbooking yourself. Ask yourself, what is your maximum amount of services that you can handle in a working day? For me, my sweet spot is 4 to 5 services. Some of you out there are probably young and just getting started and are able to do more, and that's totally fine. But I just encourage you to really ask yourself, like, when am I able to give 100%, and how long can I give myself 100% to my client? And just to being in tune with your body as well. If you're feeling really sore or just hurting somewhere, then maybe that's a sign that you're doing too much. And not even just your own physical well-being, but also just your transition to each client. I know that I have tried my best to give at least 10 minutes in between services to buffer out sending off a client and intaking a new one. I just find that when I get a new person, or I am with a current client and I have that buffer, you know, what's 10, 20 minutes to separate from the next one? I just feel like it allows you to rest a little bit, to go into the next service feeling like ready for it, and you're not rushing. And I just think that rushing really can give off a really like frazzled feel. That goes into my next point of just making sure you're giving yourself enough time to come in, set up. And I started to do a little bit of meditation, and I burn a little bit of sage in the room before, and it just allows me to just breathe before working on somebody. And again, getting into that right headspace, being able to give myself my best self to this person. And again, I think people really, really feel that. And also giving yourself enough time to make sure your space, and I know this is kind of understood already, but just making sure you're looking presentable, making sure your room is looking presentable. You know, when's the last time you did a good cleanse in your room, reorganize things? I think first impressions are very important when it comes to your first timers, and then even continuing clients. You know, we don't want to get too comfortable with our people where we're just coming in looking like we rolled out of bed just because we know this person now. We've seen them a lot. And I feel like maybe for those of you who have a separate practice from your home, it's a little easier to separate the two. But for those of you, I know I've coached a lot of y'all who are home-based estheticians, and that's wonderful, but I feel like there could be a little bit more temptation to roll out of bed and just kind of, you know, get comfortable because it's in your home. Treat it like it's a business, and treat it as if you're on the flip side. You know, you're the client coming in, and you know, evaluate your space as if you're somebody new. And you are being compared to other professional spaces. So if you are home-based, make sure it is A++ in appearance, and that you're also coming ready to work and professional. I know some of you moms too are juggling your kids and all that. I know it's hard sometimes to separate, you know, your children from work, but I do think that that's really important, as well as being able to make sure that the services are not getting interrupted by your family, and just making sure that, you know, you have somebody there to kind of make sure the kids stay, you know, in the house, and allow your clients to be able to have a relaxing experience. Because I could imagine that sometimes that might deter someone away if they're coming in and they're feeling like, I'm not really actually getting an experience of being here because a kid is knocking on the door or whatever. Agree with me or not, but I do feel like that makes a difference, especially for you home-based esties. Oh my gosh, there's so many other tips. I feel like this video is getting super long, so let me just like graze through the last couple ones here. I do think too, your pricing could have an impact on retention. I know we're, again, kind of going through some interesting times in our economy. I know a lot of my clients have experienced job losses, moving, having children. There's so many different things that pop up in life, and that just happens. Again, let's not get frustrated about that or worried about that. Continue to love on the people who are here and investing in you. And so your pricing really can make or break somebody's budget sometimes. And so I encourage you to not price your stuff too low or too high. You know, you got to be at a happy medium. And I have, you know, kind of been feeling like I've needed to raise my prices, but at the same time, I've tried to look at other avenues first. So I actually did a whole spreadsheet of my services and costs of the products, and down to like the Q-tip I'm using and the cotton round I'm using. And I really looked at like what specific cost goes into each facial, and I just made sure that I was profiting at least 50% on top of whatever I was spending for the service. And I feel like there's other ways to cut costs first than to just raise your prices. I think raising prices should just be kind of your last resort in a sense. So for me, I have just immediately tried to cut out any fluff type products. I'm making sure we're not over ordering. I know I had suggested that you guys sign up for subscriptions and stuff. Just make sure you're not over purchasing items with those subscriptions, and monitoring that. I would at one point had like 40 packs of sponges, like, you know what I'm saying? So like, just be a little bit more aware of where your money is going, and try to tune that up before you go and you change your prices. Okay, now if you've done all that and you're like, hey, okay, I think it's appropriate to change pricing, then go ahead. Sometimes it's necessary. Like I said, if you're not profiting at least that 50% on your services, then yeah, your prices might need to change. But if you are doing good, then I think there's other ways for you to cut costs without having to raise prices, because I think even just $5 or $10 these days could make or break someone coming back. And again, you know, that's just my opinion. Do your research. One thing too to look at is just your own routine, your own skincare regimen. Are you being good about your own routine? I know clients love to hear my own personal findings with products, my own experiences with my skincare routine. They do look at my skin. I try to set the example. If I go on vacation, I'm taking my skincare routine with me. I'm getting a facial usually about every other month now. I had slacked on that, and I'm telling you, I feel like when you're slacking on it yourself, like, it's the law of attraction. You're doing it, so that's what's going to be coming in the door. People that are not going to be sticking to the routine, because guess what? You're telling yourself you're too busy to get a facial. So prioritize those things. do the things that you're asking your clients to do for you. And that's just gonna bring you people that are serious about their skincare routine, because you're also serious about your skin. I hate to break it to you, darling, you're gonna lose clients regardless. Whatever you do, whatever thing you do or don't do, people just have their preferences. We had a client come in recently who said she preferred less talking and less product pushing. Again, we can't please everybody. At the end of the day, even if you did all the right steps and did all the right things and tweaked whatever, you're just not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and you just have to accept that and not take it personal. There was an occasion too one time with a client where her skin just didn't agree with my products, and that happens. Now it's good to have variety to your back bar. I know there's certain people that come in that want only vegan or fragrance free or clean products, and now I do try to make sure I have a variety as such to my back bar, but I'm not going to change my entire back bar for just one person. Now if it's a repeated request that I get to have a certain item, or they're curious about having certain skincare treatments, then I do take that into account, and I listen to my clients, and I'm like, hey, if this person asked about vegan products, maybe I need to consider having some more vegan products in my back bar. Listen to your clients, and but also don't, feel like you need to cater to one person who you're just trying to please no matter what. I promise you that client's just never going to be happy. Sometimes you have to just have a gentle conversation with them. Just say, hey, you know what? I'm doing my very best here. I've suggested other lines we could try. I've suggested X, Y, and Z, and I'm just not feeling like we're on the same page, and I don't know if this is a good fit at the end of the day. I want you to be happy. I want you to have the results you want, and I'm not going to take it personal whatsoever if this is just not a good fit. And I have had to have that conversation with someone. It was kind of uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, I do feel like we left things on good terms, and I feel like I handled it pretty professionally. And, at the end of the day, I do truthfully want that person to be happy and get the skin and results that they want. And sometimes I'm just not able to provide that, no matter how much knowledge or products I have, and that's okay, and you have to be okay with that. My last thing, I know I mentioned I had a special announcement for y'all. Thank you for watching to the end. I know this was a kind of a lengthier video, but I am going to be doing a whole rebrand of Radiance by Kristen and also Radiance Academy. I've decided that it's time for a facelift for the whole brand and the website and everything, and with that also will be the online courses. And the ebook I'm working on and all of that will kind of have a new and refreshed look. I'll be sure to make more specific announcements as I have more information about it. I'm still in the works talking to my marketing person about everything and solidifying everything, but just know that that's coming. I know I've been kind of taking a pause from all of that, but I am feeling like, hey, you know what, I'm ready to, get back into it and give it a whole new look and feel, and I'm excited to see what comes from that. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you gained some confidence from this, some insight from this. Be sure to like this video, comment below the tip that hit home for you, or any tips that you might have for client retention that has worked for you. We'd love to hear about it. Hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys back here next week for a new one. And until then, stay safe. I love you so much. Bye.